Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition another episode of the Wonder Series. The Wonder Series is here each week at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time to help you wonder what life would be like if you looked at it from a different perspective. If you opened your mind to different ideas, different thought processes, and truly how that could help you to live that healthy, happy lifestyle that you have been searching for. There's lots of information out there, but we want to bring you the best experts who can help you on your journey. So I'm really excited to talk to my guest today. Lauri Rubinstein is a master at seeing and guiding people to clear the energy constructs, blocks, patterns, beliefs, we all have them, and behaviors that do not serve them. We all have those guys. She holds a powerful space for transformation and healing. Lauri focuses on guiding her clients to claim their magic back, speak their truth, and own their power. Lauri is an intuitive, a guide, certified coach, speaker, and author. Lauri, welcome to the Wonder Series.
Thank you. Excited to be here today with you.
Thank you. So this is who you are on paper.
Yes.
Tell me who Lauri is and how did you get to this place where you are today?
It's quite the journey. I think, I grew up in Colorado. I still live in Colorado and, had a normal childhood playing outside. We didn't have cell phones and computers or any of that.
Nope.
And it's so interesting because as a child, we're so free to just play and be, and then something happens. And I work with women. So I'm going to speak to my experience with myself and women. But something happens and we get shut down. And I was really bullied as a child. And I can tell you, why'd you do that?
I'm with you. I get it.
Yeah.
What you just said triggered something in me.
Okay, good. Yeah. And I was so bullied. And in 8th grade, I got off the bus and the kids would follow me home from school and they'd call me names and throw stuff at me. And I just remember running home and I was crying. And I ran up the stairs, locked myself in the bathroom, and I looked in the mirror. And I said to myself, I'm not ugly. I'm not stupid. And I'm not going to let them determine who I am.
Oh, wow.
Which is powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of that is I disappeared and shut down. Mm. Because if I wasn't seen, I couldn't be teased. And my gifts had a tendency, my intuitive gifts, because I see the energy constructs and patterns and people's guides and my guides. And I just would tell people, well, adults don't like it when a child is telling these things. And a lot of times what I found is as adults, our patterns come from our gifts because they get shut down.
Wow, that was powerful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And and that little child that makes these decisions it's brilliant. When you think about what happens and to make these decisions, and it keeps us safe so that we can continue on and stay out of it. But at some point in our life, we grow up and those patterns and energy constructs and things that we've created around ourselves and the beliefs and cultural beliefs that we've been put on, that have been put on us, no longer serve us. And we end up living this life that isn't working.
Mhm.
And I had created a lot of success. I'd gone to school. I went to school and got a degree in accounting. My dad was an accountant, but I didn't talk to people. So I thought, well, I didn't have to do a speech. I was pretty good at math. But I got out of college, and was at a job interview. And I'm walking around. They're introducing me. They were offering me the job at a big accounting firm. They were introducing me to people. And as I walked around, I was starting to have an anxiety attack.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, I can't do this. I can't stick my head in a cubicle for 60 hours a week. I just can't. I could feel my soul just going, no. And I turned down the job. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I ended up, long story short, in Mary Kay Cosmetics. I didn't talk to people. Didn't wear makeup.
Oh, no.
I know. The person who brought me in had to be so excited. But I spent 20 years there and built a huge organization. And it was towards the end of those 20 years that a catalyst came into my life. That blew my life up.
Okay.
Because I wasn't listening. As women, we don't put ourselves as a priority.
True.
We don't. And we hardly ever put ourselves first. And some of us never.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, I was 33. I never put myself first. I was, in a horrible marriage. I had a very successful career with Mary Kay, but I was living what everybody wanted me to do and who they expected me to be. And I thought being in service was what I was supposed to do. And I think most of us think that. But in actuality, we're degrading our soul path.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing what happens. And when we don't listen and we're giving away our power and we're hiding our true gifts, then I got the 2x4, more like bigger.
Bigger piece of
I really
wood.
wasn't listening. And at 33, I found myself sitting in an empty condo surrounded by boxes. And it was the worst time of my life. I had lost a child at birth. I was getting divorced. And I had moved and sold my house.
Wow. Hello, triple whammy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I sat there, I had this really weird thought. And I can remember this like it was yesterday. Those pivotal moments in your life. And I thought, I'm the only one now that can screw up my life.
I love it.
I can choose. And at that moment, it still gives me goosebumps. I felt this like sensation. It felt like joy. And I thought, I want more of that. And I can choose. I can choose to step into my gifts that I've been hiding all these years. And I can choose to create the life that I want to live. And from that moment on, that's when that was the beginning journey of the method I created called Joyful Play that I used to completely change my life. And
wow.
Yeah. So that's me. So 24 years later,
yes, Lord,
I've done it. I've created the life And my mission is to help women who have been shut down claim their magic back. We all have it. Be able to speak their truth and own their power. Women are powerful. And
I don't think we all know that.
I know we don't, but
Mhm.
we are so much more powerful than we ever think we are.
Mhm.
And it's so important that once you get that, you start to see that, and we fall into that. It's not our fault. Culturally, we're taught that, right?
Mhm. Parents, school, religion, whatever it might be, all
Yeah.
of the above.
You name it. That's
Mhm.
we're here to be the caretakers, right?
Right.
To serve. And there's so many different messages as you're a little girl growing up around that. But once you see that and kind of know, and you get that feeling that there's something more, can't put a finger on it, but there's something more out there, then you have to take action.
Yep.
Or you're
I
going to
love
have
it.
the life you've always had.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many women get stuck in that, their circumstance, well, that's great, Lauri, you found yourself in that situation. That was your situation, but my situation is different.
Yeah.
We all say that. I
Yeah.
hear that constantly.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Why do we get stuck in that?
Yeah, why we get stuck in our circumstances, like, that works for her, that works for that person, but it won't work for me.
We've forgotten our magic. We've forgotten our power, and we've gotten complacent,
Mhm.
just accepting what we've got. But there's something in there that's nagging at you. There's something in there. If you're listening to this right now, you're here for a reason. And there's something that's saying there's more. There's more. And you are more. And you could feel the power. We have moments that it comes up, but it scares us.
Mhm.
And we tend to withdraw back into our lives, because what if we tapped into that? What would happen?
Mhm. For good or bad.
Right. But we tend to go for bad, right?
Right, exactly. We never
Or,
think of all the positive.
yeah, they're not going to like this, or it may hurt my relationship. But if you being all you can be hurts your relationship, is it a good one?
Mm, very good question.
Questions to ask, right? And if you're feeling that, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. And it's about finding the right people that can guide you and really help you see what it is that's stopping you, which are the energy constructs
Mm-hmm.
and the patterns. We form most of our patterns between 3 and 10.
Right. We form most of those a lot of those patterns, and that's usually when they say, any type of negative thing that's gone on in our life that we kind of carry throughout is, again, around that same time, 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yes. And if you don't catch it, you just, one of my favorite things is to watch people and watch an overreaction. And I can pinpoint the age, the time that happened that put them in that pattern they're in, because we have an automatic mode of behavior attached to it.
Sure.
It just gets triggered. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to resistance. If somebody's feeling stuck and like, well, yeah, you can, but not me. Why not you? It's my question. When did you disappear?
Yes. I had a friend from high school. I remember she used to say that to me all the time. Well, Denise, you don't understand because you have a college degree. Denise, you don't understand because blah, blah, blah. That works for you. And for years, she would always look for advice. but it was never, it would never work for her, whatever it was. And I wonder why women get stuck in that, that,
Not taking responsibility.
that's,
That's the hard truth.
that is a hard truth. Hello, hold on.
Smack
Back in the face
the
there.
hard truth, right?
Yeah, it really is.
We're putting it outside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as the reason it's happening is outside of ourselves, we can never change it.
Right. We're not responsible.
Yeah. So we're
Mhm.
stuck. It isn't until we decide, I take responsibility for my part, not everything, my part,
Mhm.
and I want something different.
Mhm.
That's the first action.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about, okay, so it's about making ourselves the priority again, like we were when we were kids. When we were kids, the world revolved around us.
Right.
And not to say that, we ignore the people we love and our responsibilities, but I think at some point in life, when we get that niggle, that it's time to make it a priority.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
That's not easy.
No.
Right? Because we need to work through the patterns, the beliefs, and the behaviors that are keeping us from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things you can do is really look at resistance.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Resistance and when you're triggered. So putting yourself as a priority is critical. It's critical because you can't take care of anybody if you're out of gas. And if you're not in your power and you're not sharing your gifts and your magic, and you can't stay in that place without being your priority.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But we tend to like, yes, I'm going to do that. But then something happens and we take the back seat, give our power to whatever's happening because that's more important.
Right. And that's kind of like going through the motions where people always say, I just feel like I'm always going through the motions.
Yes. Yeah.
And as you're talking, I'm actually physically seeing people, seeing that, like just kind of doing what you've always done. And like you said, giving somebody else your power, giving your power away.
Yeah. And, the first step is just noticing it and then be curious. Oh, why did I do that?
And of course, that's what we're here for, curiosity, wonder.
Yes.
I think when we think of, wondering about what life would be like, that's a curiosity. I mean, that's curiosity. What's going on in your life? What's going on inside you that you love, don't love, or want to change? I think it's so important that you're right. We need to recognize it and really be curious where it's coming from or where it can go.
Yeah. And curiosity is magic because it also keeps us out of negative self-talk.
Ah, yes.
So when we're curious,
that's so true.
We're not in our heads beating ourselves up. And it's staying judgment free. Like, that's interesting. Why did I do that? I was going to do this and I'm doing this.
Of course, I see myself doing that sometimes, like in my office, I'm supposed to be doing one thing and I'm doing something completely different.
Something to look at.
and actually, I do know why I do that. This is easier than this.
Yeah. 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 Because that requires you to step into your power.
That's true. Oh my gosh, especially the two things that I was thinking of. Because the one thing is redoing a video that for the Living Healthy List membership. And I'm good on camera, but for some reason, when it's something that I like, it's a sales page, that's so out of my it's out of my character because I do what I do out of love, out of desire to help people. And so this is something that I'm uncomfortable with, doing those kind of videos. Interesting.
But if you don't, you can't share your gift.
Bingo.
You can't be in your gift.
Yeah, you're right.
And that is flow.
Mhm.
It's your ability to receive
Mhm.
and give.
Mhm. I love it.
But we tend to be in service, right? Give, give, give.
Mhm.
And then we don't receive well. So we put a kink in the flow of energy, which stalls us, keeps us stuck.
It's true. I mean, even with receiving compliments,
Yes.
we're really bad at receiving compliments. And I've really tried to get better at that as I've gotten older because I'm more aware of it. You know,
Yeah.
somebody will say, "Oh, I love your shirt today." "Oh, yeah, I bought this at the, secondhand store," whatever. Like, thank you would have been sufficient. And it would have kind of been more uplifting than, kind of out there as opposed to the extra piece that really just kind of contracts. And we want to be out here
Yes.
in the world.
Yeah. But that one thing of just deflecting a compliment and not receiving it
Mhm.
is resistance. It's not putting yourself as a priority.
Mhm.
Why is that?
It's how you're right. It's how we were raised back when we were kids. And it's interesting when I think of, being in service, I only ever really think of that for women. I don't think of men in that way, which
That's
is
why they don't
interesting.
struggle with it like we do. They own their word. They're happy to tell you all their stuff. Like, they can show up. But when we have to do a bio,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. I know. Yep, you're right.
We have to brag on ourselves a little bit. That's hard.
It is.
And that's so much the conditioning.
Mhm.
But you know what? That's your magic. And when I get triggered, people trigger me. And when people trigger you, we have resistance you want to look at.
Mhm.
Curious about what happened. Triggering is when something or situation just there's an overreaction, which means it's triggered a pattern in you.
Mhm.
And whenever I'm triggered, I'm like, because I have to look at it.
And as soon as it happens,
I know. And it's like, but it's a mirror. It's a mirror for us.
Mhm.
And when we begin to step into our magic and claim our magic and really step into our power and start speaking our truth, we get lots of opportunity to clear these patterns out. It's amazing. And that's a lifetime thing. It doesn't, you don't ever get there. It's just,
Well, it's like that's the phrase, that, life is a journey.
yeah.
Like the ultimate, what's the ultimate destination?
Yeah.
I want to keep pushing that off as long as I can. I want to stay on the journey.
Yeah. And I want to serve. I want to help millions of people step into this. Millions of women step into this because I know how powerful they are.
Yeah.
I can't do that without being my own priority.
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be impossible.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, like, just as you're saying, like, it's that authenticity, being who you are. And this now. You didn't know this when you were 33.
No.
I mean, I can say the same thing and it's funny. So when I turned 30, my kind of fall on my face, flat on my face was when the year that I turned 30. I had moved back to New York because there was a boyfriend who, for years, everyone, "Oh, you guys are going to get married eventually, blah, blah, blah." Opportunity, kind of, we were in the same place at the same time, quit my job that I liked, moved out of the apartment that I liked, was not liking what was going on. This was one of those situations where, like, I just knew at some point, and literally I remember saying, "Well, at some point you've got to grow up." And he said to me, he goes, "Well, maybe I'm just not ready." And I'm like, I know my way home, and I'm out the door. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a place to live. I was like, okay. And now I don't have a boyfriend. Not that was so important, but I was like, shoot, now what? And so it was then that I needed to do some soul searching and kind of figure out, who was Denise?
Mm-hmm.
The beautiful thing is I know who I am today, but I don't know who I'm going to be tomorrow. I hope I'm an extension of who I am today and that I'm always growing.
Yes.
I could not have said that when I was 30.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the journey, right? But
Yeah.
you knew that's the step.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. That's when you have to take action.
Yeah. Yeah.
And either find someone that can support you, study, or get books. I mean, there's books on everything. And I've done all of it. I've done all of it.
I have a couple of books down here,
Yeah.
just a couple on that bookshelf. I've got an entire wall upstairs.
Yeah, it's crazy, but just take action. Find somebody that can help you step into your power and clear the blocks that are needed. And you can begin to, like, when there's that trigger, when there's a resistance, be curious, but also take a step back and feel, where is it in your body? Where do you feel it? Because when those patterns are set, as kids, we don't have the emotional fortitude that we had when we were little. I mean, that we have now.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a big event, but it's emotional for us that we can only process so much of the energy. What we can't process gets stuck in the body, and we make a decision about it.
Right.
And that decision tends to get reaffirmed over and over, and then there becomes a behavior around it. So if you can find it in the body and then sit with it, just feel it. You don't have to do anything. Give it 30 seconds, a 60 seconds. Just be with it. Be curious, be with it, and allow some of that to come up. Emotion may come up, a memory may pop, but just allow it to kind of process out, because it lessens the trigger when some of that energy can then begin processing out. And you can start there. Just start there, having a little bit more awareness around that.
And I know it's hard when somebody triggers you and you're kind of in the moment.
Yeah.
Never done that before.
I'm pretty good now until I'm not.
I understand. I understand that.
Yeah.
And there's like that one, and you're like, where did that come from?
Why'd you react like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's back to the work, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. A lot of women will say, well, I don't know what my truth is. I don't know what my powers are, or what my magic is, in your words.
Yeah.
And we know it's a journey, but can you tell us, for someone who's going, okay, yeah, I want that. Where do they start? Obviously we've talked about, listening, being curious. And those are good things for people to kind of go, okay, I can do that, but I need something else more tangible to start with.
So one, take responsibility. That's the biggest thing, because you can't change it until you do it. Till you do it. What do you do naturally that comes so easily to you that you discard it? It's like, oh, and you think everybody can do it. That's your gift. But our gift, it's so easy for us, and that's because it's our gift. But my gift is my intuitive abilities. But that comes so naturally to me. I didn't think a whole lot of it, but it was so natural for me to do.
Sure, that you may not even have realized that it was a gift. Ah, cool. I could see that.
I hid it for a while.
Yeah, you said when you were younger.
Yeah. But then it was like, but it's natural for us. We just do it. So kind of look at what is it that you do. I had to kind of look at when I'm like, all right, I want one. What do you want? I didn't even know what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that little tinge of joy, but I had no idea what brought me joy. Most of us don't even know what joy feels like.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like, okay, what do I want? And I had to start with what I didn't want.
Oh, that's interesting, because that seems to me total opposite of what they tell you with, the universe. Tell the universe what you want, not what you didn't want. Okay, so so I'm interested.
Right. So
Intrigued
I
here.
didn't want any more drama in my life, which meant I had to eliminate the people in my life that created drama.
Mm,
That's not easy,
no.
right? But if I didn't want drama, what do I want? I wanted ease.
Mhm. Yep, ease,
I wanted
healthy
calm.
relationships.
Yeah. I wanted love.
Mm.
So sometimes you have to look at, okay, if I don't want this, then what do I want?
Mhm.
What's the opposite of that for me? And it's each person is going to be a little different,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I take responsibility. I'm going to find what I want. And it's an exploration. Experiment, explore, try new things. Don't have to know. Let yourself be in the space of not knowing. Let
And
magic
that's
come.
scary, but that
It
is
is
scary.
scary because we don't like uncertainty,
Mm-mm. Of course,
especially
that's the whole
control
world.
freak or
Mhm.
reformed control freaks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
uh, uh, but that's the magic. Let the magic come in and trust yourself.
Mm.
Trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That is the hardest and biggest thing we can do.
I was just going to say that's of what we've talked about. To me, that is the hardest thing for most of us. And I still find I have resistance around that at times.
So do I.
Okay,
And I know. I mean, we have so much universal support around us all the time. We've got guides on the other side. We have our master guide. They're here to support us, to guide us, they show us the way, they protect us. But you have to ask them. You have to talk to them. You have to invite them in because they can't interfere with free will.
Mm-hmm.
And play with that. You don't even necessarily have to believe it. Play with it.
Doesn't hurt to play. Play is good. Play is healthy.
And watch the serendipity.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the little things that happen. It's amazing. And that's when you really claim your magic back.
Mm-hmm.
When despite everything else, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you trust that. That's sweet. That's the sweet spot.
I love that sweet spot. Interestingly, so when I was in my 30s, late 20s, early 30s, and people, my friends were getting married, and people would say, "Oh, Denise, when you meet him, you'll just know. You'll just know." Roll my eyes. At one point, I thought I knew, didn't. And I thought, all right, this is a bit of BS. You'll just know, intuition, whatever. Wasn't a bad way. I'll give you that. Oh my God. And then I met my husband. I knew. I knew early on. To the point where it scared me.
Yeah.
But that was I just knew in my heart of hearts and in my mind that it was just right. And I was going to move 1,000 miles away from everything and everyone I knew and loved. But I knew it was right. Because at that point in my life, I had been through that turmoil and was turning myself around and kind of really looking more, introspectively, like, what is it that I want? And I'm not great with, my intuition and listening. I'm kind of I could be a bit of a bull in a china shop. Like, I want to do this and this is what I'm going to do. And then after the fact go, maybe I should have listened a little bit before I forged ahead. I know the times that I do step back and listen, things happen a lot easier, maybe not quicker, because we're this society, we want it now.
Yeah.
But things happen easier. People come into my life that I didn't know I needed to know.
Yeah.
But once they were in my life, I was just the best gifts. My living healthy list. I didn't know I needed to do this, but I needed to do it for two reasons. One, because to me, it's for the greater good of women 45 and over.
Yes.
It brings me joy. And this is one of my gifts. I love to connect to people. I cannot love to connect people together. I didn't know that before.
How fun is that?
Mm-hmm.
How fun is that?
Yeah, it's amazing. And at this stage in life, like, I realize that there's only more, not less. There's more.
Yeah.
More to come.
And one thing I always do is when things get hard, I stop because I'm not listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be hard. When we're in flow, it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what you said. I loved what you just said, because the right people come in.
Mm-hmm.
You trusted that.
Yep.
And I find it so interesting because some women really have that in their personal life, but they don't in their business life. Or they rock in their business life and their personal relationships are a mess.
Right.
Because they're taking a work persona into their personal life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
vice versa.
Yeah. And it really is, it is different. It is almost like you have to have, kind of like two faces. Because when you're at work, you are expected to act a certain way. And as a woman, that's really hard because you're always expected to be more like a man. In our personal lives, we're supposed to act more like, women and have,
right.
Yeah.
And it's a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And it's finding that, for me, it wasn't two different people as much as it was integrating that person and separating from who I be from what I do.
Yes.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have work. Like this work I am doing now is who I be, what I do, what I love, what brings me joy. Mm-hmm. But you still have to step away from it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Be in your personal life.
It's interesting. So Mark and I every now and then ask each other, this question. And it's I think it's a really good lesson. If you had all the money in the world, what would you be doing differently? And I always think about it, I'm like, what would I be doing differently? And sure, there's, maybe I'd put more money into, marketing or whatever, stupid things like that. But I would still be doing, I'd still be the CEO and curator at Living Healthy List. I'd still be running this membership. I'd still be writing books. So I think when you talk about figuring out being in flow, and again, it's taken the time, and it's taken time because I'm 50. Well, actually I'm 51, just made myself younger. But the fact that I did take that journey and did step back and take the time, as you're mentioning, looking at what the triggers are. I know what some of my triggers are. And I know to the point when I'm in that situation with those people, I have to kind of prepare myself for that connection, whatever, or that situation. We'll call it, whatever, Thanksgiving at, grandma's house. I know that there's gonna be-
Family will trigger you like nothing else.
it's actually pretty good. Like but it's me. So my dad passed away 17 years ago. So family, it's me and my sister, and my mom, my sister's husband, the kids, whatever, there's the extended family, but it's just like me and my mom and my sister. And yes, there's are times when one of them, not so much my sister, but my mom might say something every now and then, my sister might say something, and old Denise might get triggered. New Denise thinks it's funny. Like I've said this a million times on the podcast. My mom's favorite thing to say to us when we were young, and she'll still say this every now and then. Well, that was dumb. And, it's something, you did something stupid, whatever, and you feel dumb enough already. And, for mom to kind of, put it there, out there in the open, and you're like, yeah, I know. And nowadays, if she says it to me, I just kind of laugh it off. I'm like, yep, it was. But for a long time, my sister struggled with that. It would really trigger her, and she would get angry. Now, as she's gotten older, she's like, okay, whatever. But those triggers, I mean, they have followed us through our lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But to be aware of it, like you said, and be curious.
And you can clear them.
Mm-hmm.
So that it gives you more space, and we can bring those parts of ourselves back in that we lost, that got shut down, as we clear the trauma out of the body. And it's such a beautiful experience to do. And then you have even more freedom to explore. What do I want? What other gifts are coming online?
I love it.
Yeah.
So with that, we should wrap up. It was a great place to end. But I want everybody to know how they can find you. I know you have a program that you work with. Tell us a little bit about that, how people can find you, because everybody, you need to connect with Lauri like as soon as you get off here.
That'd be great. My website is laurirubinstein.com. L-A-U, can't spell my name. LAURIRUBINSTEIN. .com. And I am in the middle of a reappearance coming out. My favorite part is working with people and clearing these blocks and giving them the space and the tools to step into what they're supposed to step into their lives that they want to create, their purpose. I have an Instagram called Joyful Play RX, which is the method I use, because I take people through this process, but we have fun while we're doing it. And we learn how to play with it and how to create more joy, those moments of joy, and put ourselves as a priority, define our gifts. And that's the method that I bring people through in order to open that space. So they can find me through, or they can email me at laurirubinstein.com.
Okay.
Lauri at laurirubinstein.com. So any of those ways. I have Facebook, Lauri Rubinstein.
Okay. Do we know who we're talking to here? We're talking to Lauri Rubinstein. Don't forget. And I will make sure that all of that information is on in the show notes, so everybody can easily get that. But it's always good for people to hear it so they can jot it down and go check it out right now. Yeah. So Lauri, thank you. This has been an amazing conversation. I hope this is the first of many.
Awesome. That would be great. Thank you, Denise, so much.
You are welcome. And thank you to our listeners. We appreciate you. Don't forget, we're here every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, with another chance for you to wonder what life would be like if you looked at it from a different perspective. So until next Wednesday, I leave you with this: start wondering and start living. Have a great week, everyone.